Alright, welcome back, Beowulf Nation. It's I'm Beowulf back at it with another YouTube video. First off, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Existing subscribers, hit the bell notification, get notified as soon as a video is uploaded. Also, too, check out the Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/IamBeowulf. Also, too, in the description, you can get free $25 on crypto.com using my promo link. We each get free $25 when you use the promo link, so make sure you guys do that. Now, the interesting thing about this video I'm going to talk about is I had this all planned to shoot like a day ago. And then, luckily, I'm glad I waited, because there's a little bit more to the story than what it was before. One news outlet talked about these back in August. China launched a hypersonic missile that circled around the Earth, then hit its target, low orbit space. NORAD said that if it was targeting the United States, they would have no defenses to stop it. Now, China's denying that it happened, said it was a space rocket doing space things. So let's go reading about this article, because this is, who knows who's on what or that. But hey, it's kind of scary that all this is going on. The title of it says, U.S. very concerned despite China denials over hypersonic missile. There's a lot of stuff going on in Taiwan area. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There was a U.S. sub that hit something underwater that they're not really clear what it was that hit it. Who knows what's all going on there. Here it goes. The United States is very concerned about China's development of a hypersonic technology. The U.S. Disarmament Ambassador Robert Wood has said after reports that Beijing had recently launched a hypersonic missile with a nuclear capacity. We are very concerned by China and have been doing on the hypersonic front, Robert Wood told reporter in Geneva. The Financial Times reported on Saturday that Beijing has launched a nuclear-capable missile in August and circled the Earth at low orbit, narrowly missing its target. Citing multiple sources, that FT claimed that the hypersonic missile was carried by a Long March rocket and the test had been kept under wraps. It's a little scary, though, is that this happened in August, and now we're into almost the end of October, and now we're talking about it. It's a little alarming. It says here, we just don't know how we can defend against that type of technology. Neither does China or Russia, Wood told reporters. But Beijing said the report was inaccurate and the exercise was a test of reusable technology that could reduce the cost of launching spacecraft. According to my understanding, the test is a routine spacecraft test used to test a reusable spacecraft technology. To Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijin told reporters in a regular press briefing that this could provide a conventional and cheap way for humans to use space for peaceful purposes. Alright, well, I won't voice my opinion on stuff, but China will be the only people in the future having a space station orbiting Earth. So the International Space Station, I forgot when it's not that much time left with that in its life cycle. So yeah, another thing to think about. They're building building a space station. To me, everybody should get along. I just think if it was me and I could sit down talking to all these people, I think I could get everybody to be all in terms of being like, hey, let's be all friends for the greater good. I feel positive that I could make a difference doing that. Maybe I should go there and just, say, hey, let's all talk it out. We all be friends. There shouldn't be who has the bigger stick. But that's just my 2 cents. Zhao's comments came days after China launched a second 3-person crew to staff the space station on a 6-month mission. The FT report came at a sentence time as China's relationship with the U.S. continues to deteriorate, with some commentators saying recent developments were reminiscent of those during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and West in the 20th century. That's what it's starting to feel like. The report launched of a hypersonic missile puzzled some observers in Washington. One U.S. official told FT, "We have no idea how they did this." The FT report said Beijing progress in the field had caught U.S. intelligence by surprise. It's a one thing where you got to kind of think it's real, that it really happened, because then it's been like for that long. It's usually that means when something I don't want everybody knowing about. But that's just me, who knows. The timing isn't surprising at all, said Tong Zhao, a senior fellow of the Nuclear Policy Program based in, this is a hard word, Karjing Chisamu Center of Global Policy in Beijing. I hope I pronounced it right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. China is known to have been conducting research on a new delivery technologies for some time. But even if this report launch was a weapons test, it may be far from becoming an operation capability. If the FT report was true, it means that China is willing to go the extra mile with exotic approach to penetrate the U.S. missile defense. He said, adding that the U.S. had long possessed a very similar and more sophisticated technology such as the X-37B spacecraft. Now, I'm pretty positive what I'm I'm pretty sure I know what this spacecraft is. Let's get just talking about that. Let me pull up my phone here. Yes, I know exactly what this craft is. So this was like something that was put together by the Air Force. It was nothing to do with NASA. It was like this miniature drone space. It looked identical as the space shuttle NASA used, and it was a drone where it like flew by itself, and it would be out there super fast, and that was circling the Earth plenty of times. The interesting stuff with this, I'll throw a couple photos with this, maybe some video clips. Everybody was in like radioactive suits when they would come touching this. When it would land, they would have a rocket go bring it up, and then the interesting thing too is a lot of times where we've had asteroids coming very close to Earth, usually this thing is up in the space. It was like one time this thing stayed up even longer than it was supposed to because there was some asteroid coming close to Earth. So, and it's classified of what this thing is doing up there in space. But it's basically a drone. Think of like a UAV drone, but this is a space shuttle, and it's like, who knows what it's all used for, and I'm pretty positive. There were some recent rockets with this being shot up by SpaceX launching this thing, not too, like, kind of recent. That alone being told in this article, it's worth, man, the spacecraft that the Air Force has, which probably could be now brought into the Space Force program. Who knows? Because now they got the official logo of Space Force. It looks like something out of Star Trek. Their uniforms that they got literally look pretty close to what Star Trek had in their universe. So yeah, let's keep talking. This is just way too interesting. As soon as I saw this talked about, I'm looking up the thing. This was launched on May 16th, so very this was very recent that this thing was just launched in 2020, so like a year ago. This is very very, very interesting talking about this. I'll have to make another video talking about this spacecraft because this is the X-37B. Woo! This is here. Drew Thompson, a former director for China, Taiwan, and Mongolia. In the Office of Secretary of Defense of the U.S. said the Department of Defense and intelligence community have been monitoring and tracking China's various missile programs for years. Without transparency in China's space program, it's difficult to be more credible denials, he said. I think this is just to reinforce the conclusion. Along with China, the U.S. and Russia have at least 5 other countries are working on hypersonic technology. Hypersonic missiles can fly at more than 5 times the speed of sound and, like ballistic missiles, can deliver a nuclear warhead. But intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, fly high into space in an arc to reach their target, while the hypersonic missile flies on a trajectory low in the atmosphere, potentially reaching a target more quickly. Crucially, a hypersonic missile is maneuverable, making it harder to track and defend against. Countries, including the U.S., have developed systems to defend against cruise and ballistic missiles, but their ability to track and take down a hypersonic missile remains to be in question. However, U.S. nuclear experts pointed out that the ballistic missile BMD systems are intended as a shield against rogue states with small arsenals that could not serve as a protection against a hail of missiles from Russia or China. Nuclear deterrency in the U.S. strategy against such major nuclear powers. This is not a game changer. U.S. BMD is not designed to counter China's existing missiles. Laura George, a fellow at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Laboratory for the Nuclear Security and Policy, said on Twitter, but it could be hedged against the U.S. eventually making missile defense work against China ICBMs. Given the unlimited nature of the U.S. BMD programs and the capability the U.S. has to conduct disarming strike, U.S. BMD continues to be a concern to China. Vipin Narang, a professor of nuclear security and political science at MIT, said one reason why the U.S. pursues counterforce and the missile defense capabilities is precisely to force adversaries to invest a lot of time and resources develop crazy experimental systems. This is a feature, not a bug, of the U.S. strategy, Naran said. China has been aggressively developing the technology, according to a recent report by U.S. Congressional Research Service. Comment down the bottom. What do you think is all going on? Who's telling the truth? I'm an open-minded. I'm listening to what is being posted, and I know there's a lot of stuff they don't want the public to know about, so I can see why there's been months of not knowing till now, but it's still scary that something like that gets launched, and it's months later we know, and then it's even more concerning what could happen if it's true. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Existing subscribers, hit the bell notification to get notified as soon as a video is uploaded. Check out the Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/IamBeowulf. Be driven to win. Remember, every day is Earth Day. Stay mighty and keep strong.